Yo, what's up, guys? And then we're back with another amazing video. Yep. So I've been playing a lot of this small indie game called Marvel Rivals recently. Uh, and I mean a lot. But I was thinking while I was playing, it's like, hey, I have a lot of superhero OCs that I don't do anything with. And I was thinking, yo, what if I did something with these guys? So for this video, I think it'd be cool if I did more drawing stuff and I drew my superhero OCs in Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals. I keep like slurring that together. So the first character I wanted to give a cool swag pimp redesign is my old Superman clone OC Starman. And little tidbit about his lore. Basically, he was a high schooler. He got hit by a meteor, and he got superpowers from said meteor. And now he's a good person because he used to be a dick, kind of. And he's a superhero. That's really all he likes doing. That's all he wants to do. So he struggles to keep down a job. And he also has to protect. He's like the sole superhero of this small town in Michigan. He has to protect it. And that's basically it. I was going to have a whole cool plot line where there's this evil version of him, like Magus and Adam Warlock. And his Magus version is like trying to fuck him over because he hates him. And he's like, yo, man, screw you, bro. And he sent this cool samurai guy over, and it was a whole thing, but it's never gonna get finished ever because I hate drawing this guy. And yeah, it's probably over. But I thought he would be a good like first fit and addition to my Rivals redesigns for the characters. And I think this turned out pretty well. I wanted to keep Rivals' unique infatuation with just a bunch of random shit everywhere. If you look at his midsection, you can see a bunch of lines. I just started doing like some texture. I grabbed a lot of armor and slapped it on this bad boy. He's got a chest plate, he's got shoulder pads, he's got the armored boots. I tried adding a lot more like paneling, I think they're called like panel lines, probably. I don't know. I think that's what they're called. I tried adding a lot of that here or there. It gets kind of covered up because, for the black parts on what he would normally look like, I just used the line art, like the same color as the line art to color that in. So a lot of the panel lining is lost. I like the yellow segment and his signature star insignia. I was going to draw Lord icons for these guys, but I'm not going to lie. I kind of lost interest in this challenge like a couple of days ago. So, I just... I didn't feel like it, but I did give him a KO icon. You can see that over there. KO icons are one of my favorite parts about Rivals, so I had to throw that in there. Gave him a cool little backstory. And for the lore, while he's in Rivals, I think this version of Starman's obviously a college student now. He's not a college student because he can't pay for it because he has no job. That's what I'm thinking. For Rivals' version of Starman, he doesn't have a job. He's a broke bum. He can't keep a job because he hates working. He thinks he's only good as a superhero, so that's kind of just what he does now. He just lives as Starman. There's no real Eugene Turner anymore. It's just Starman. But yeah, for how I think he'd play in the game, because I wanted to go over their movesets, I think Starman would be a tank for... I don't know why, but my recording got cut off. But basically what I was saying before I was rudely interrupted is I think he would be a tank, and he'd play kind of like a mix of Angela and Emma Frost, where he's got a lot of... Emma Frost Diamond form, I should be specific. He's got a lot of grappling and stuff, and he can fly around. So I think he would have maybe a move where he grabs you and starts like throwing you over, like he just grabs you, whirls around and tosses you, or he suplexes maybe. I think he'd be a very wrestling, grappling oriented kind of character. So, very annoying is what I'm trying to say. And he'd have not complete flight like Angela does, but probably more like Iron Man, where it's like, let me hit a button and now I can fly for a brief period of time. Almost like Doctor Strange, except it's not a hover. He can actually fly around. But that's what I was trying to say there. Moving on to the next character! The next character I wanted to do is actually a Starman villain. The Angler. Ooh, Angler, W Angler. Yeah. So I'm gonna put a picture of what he looked like in the comic up on screen right now, and you're gonna be looking at me drawing this, and you're gonna be like, "Wait, what the fuck? That's not the Angler." And I'll be like, "Well, actually, before I canceled doing all my Starman stuff, I was going to get it so that Angler got infected by a mutagen because I was watching the '90s Spider-Man cartoon and I felt motivated." And he would get mutated into this big deep blue moon type angler creature. And obviously I didn't do that because the comic didn't continue after like the second issue. But if I did, this is what he would look like. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm the most proud of this drawing. This is sick. I love this little guy so much. I tried. I know I said Starman was my favorite, but I just lied to you, like completely lied, because this is by far my favorite. I love like the texturing I did. Maybe the shading is a little wonky. I don't know why it cuts out before, like the rim lighting cuts out before it gets all the way down his short, but it's whatever. Uh, I'm a big fan of this, to be honest. But yeah, I gotta go into some lore now, I guess. Basically, the Angler, besides the mutagen part, he was just like a petty thief, and then he gets like infected with the mutagen by this guy named Dr. Monster. He's a whole other bag of worms, and I hate that character too. I hate most everyone in Starman's story, to be honest. But Jerry Kindle, right? He's a small town thief, turns into a giant lizard-like monster, and if he catches you uh, in his neck of the woods, I guess he just mauls you to death. So that's really his lore. I think he'd be a Vanguard as well. I know it's a pretty low bar, but he'd be a Vanguard. I imagine he'd kind of have like a mix of Jeff's play style where you could like go underground and start surfing for like mobility. So it's like, oh my God, where is he? And he just pops up behind you and he just like chomps your head off or something. Like, I think it'd be cool if his moveset was chomping, because there's not a lot of like, besides Venom, like his third melee where he uses his mouth, there's not a lot of like unique attacking, I guess. So I think it'd be cool if he was one of the characters where it's just like, you couldn't see it, but I just started biting my microphone. But I think that would be very sick. Yeah, it's really the Angler. His recolor would be orange, by the way. I just thought I should say that. I'm a very big fan of this design. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. But yeah, I don't have a lot to say about him either. I guess besides like, maybe he and Starman would have a team up just because they're from the same, comic. They're also Portal, like, how they come from different timelines. They're from the same timeline in the game, so they would be like teaming up that way too. I imagine their team up would be some bullshit where it's like Starman just picks up the Angler and he tosses him, and it's like a dive bomb, kind of like Human Torch and the Things team up, except way more annoying because now you just have two tanks on you. But yeah, the next character I decided to draw was my much more recent OC, but still very canceled OC. Go-Go Man. Go-Go Man originally was like it was gonna be a cool little, story where this Go-Go Man and then his best friend, Forecast, right? They're getting into being a superhero, and there's this guy who runs the city, and he's like it's like Kingpin almost, but he's a brain in a jar, and he has psionic powers like 11 or some shit, and they just be fighting with him all the time, probably because I imagine he'd be evil, and it would end with some stuff with Go-Go Man and Forecast, which I'll get into later for when I cover the other character I did, and that's like his original story. And for Rivals, I think we pick up after the events with him and Forecast at the end of the story. And those events change him fundamentally as a character. Like, he's not trying to he's not a very big fighter anymore. Like, he doesn't do that. So I decided to make him a strategist. He'd be a healer. His dad was a doctor, so it's like, I'll just carry on what he's doing. I changed his design up a lot, just because I think the goggles and the mask combo would be too close to Starman, so I gave him a beanie and goggles instead. W's, I think. Ignore the feet. I suck at drawing shoes. I can't even lie. I told you guys in the last one, I'm trash at drawing those. So you can't blame me, to be honest, if you think about it. I like this design a lot too, but I don't know. I think in the game, so his powers, I've realized I kind of forgot to touch on that. He's a speedster, and he had these gauntlets where he can convert his speed into kinetic energy for like little blasts and stuff. He doesn't have that anymore because he doesn't like fighting. So now he's just full on speedster, and I think how he'd play is, I want you to imagine you're like a DPS or something and you're really low because you're getting your ass kicked by like, I don't know, Daredevil, because that guy's so broken. Don't nerf him though, please don't nerf him. But in this scenario, Go-Go Man would run by, pick you up, and carry you out of the fight, and then heal you probably. I think it'd be so cool if he was just like, you know, he could like pick up his teammates and just carry them away. I could also see how this could be bad though, because then if you have a dork on your team, he'd pick you up, run you over to the enemy lines, and just dip. Like that'd be funny if it happened to not me and I was the one doing it. But if that happened to me, it's raps. Okay, it's raps. But yeah, that's Go-Go Man. I'm a pretty big fan of this guy too, to be honest. Like, really, all of these have been fun to draw, except this one. And the next drawing, I'm telling you right now, it took me out of the challenge so hard, I lost interest in doing it completely. But yeah, we'll get there when we get there. And we're getting there right now. Moving on to the next. The next character I did is my bum-ass, fraud-ass, stupid-ass OC Forecast. He's a duelist. I hate this guy, but I'll go over the lore before I dog on him, I guess. So he's Go-Go Man's best friend, and, you know, they're superhero buddies because Go-Go Man really wants to be a superhero, and Forecast is like, yeah, okay, I can get down with that. So they, you know, partner up, right? The events of the story go down. Go-Go Man and Forecast are doing all good, and then like the conductor or the main villain basically murks Forecast's dad because his dad's a prick, unlike Go-Go Man's dad, who's the GOAT. And then Forecast is like, oh man, I'm so upset about this, and then he goes and kills conductor. He like breaks his like jar open and his brain falls out, and Go-Go Man is like, dude, you holy shit, you can't do that. So they get in a fight, and then Go-Go Man accidentally kills Forecast. It's a whole thing. And Go-Go Man, that's why Go-Go Man stops fighting. Basically, he retires everything, and he just goes into being like full, like, I don't know, first responder mode, I guess. Because he accidentally murked his best friend. Except he's not really dead. It's a whole thing. It's never going to happen, so that's why I'm just telling you guys now, because I'm not continuing this bullshit story. But, for Rivals, my Rivals Forecast, basically, he's from the year 2099, because they do that sometimes. And I only had this distinction because I wanted to make, 1, a techno slop costume, and 2, because I wanted edge slop interactions between the two in-game. Am I a genius? Maybe. Maybe. Except, here's the problem. Marvel Rivals is so genius with how they design their 2099 costumes because they feel impossible to replicate with how much slop, line, like, I can't do it. I can't do it. So, Forecast looks stupid. I didn't know what to do with his costume, so he looks like a bum. I didn't know what to do. And that already ties into the fact that I just don't like his character. Like, his powers are completely because I needed a foil to Go-Go Man, because it's like, oh, what counters super speed? I know, ice. But ice would be, that's just Frozone, so I decided to give him, like, just full-on weather powers. So basically, he's like an Omega level threat, almost, if he just locked in and learned how to use his powers. But he doesn't, because he dies. So, he's a bum, he's a fraud, he serves no point to the story. Except he does. He's a very important character. I just don't like him. And Forecast is a stupid name. I just couldn't think of a good name to give him. So I settled on Forecast, and it sucks. I hate him. Everything about him is stupid. I don't like him. And his stupid Power Rangers costume, this is the one drawing I did that I just do not like. Like, I hate this guy. I hate him. I hate him. Like, I don't like it. I don't like it. Ooh. Oh, yeah. I have to talk about his playstyle, too, I guess. I think it'd be cool if he had like, you know, Hawkeye's whirlwind arrows. If that was just like one of his basic attacks, it's like Blade's little dash ult. I think that'd be a cool move for him to have too. Except it's not an ult; it's just something he can do, just minus the anti-heal. Obviously, he'd have like his ice powers, so he'd have like the storm thing where he can switch between different modes. So it's like one mode he has like the wind powers, and then the other mode he has like the precipitation stuff. I think he'd be a challenging DPS to master because, you know, he is a duelist. I think that he'd be probably the most challenging, except also given how his powers are so, you know, overpowered, he'd also be brain dead, and I'd probably want him removed from the game if I had to fight him. But yeah, should I talk about his lore and rivals? I don't think so. It's really just, you know, he's in 2099. He's a 2099 timeline for Station City where Go-Go Man's still alive, and or maybe Go-Go Man died instead of his dad. So like Conductor killed him instead, and then it's like, so that way when they meet in the game, Go-Go Man's like, oh shit, you remind me of somebody I used to know, and he's like, yeah, you do too, and it's like, oh, except Go-Go Man killed him, and he killed nobody. Actually, this is a completely good and normal version of Forecast. You can see when I'm going like my speed lapse or time lapse of the drawing, you can see I'm really just like, what the hell do I even do for him? Like, I gave him the shoulder pads and the two like handlebars on his hips, and then other than that, it's just like, man, I do not know what to do for this guy. So I think that contributes to why I don't like him so much. Also, his logo's stupid. But yeah, that's my opinions on Forecast. I should probably just get to the outro. Alright, it's W outro time, baby! I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Closing thoughts. If you play Squirrel Girl, you need to die. If you play Bucky, you need to die. If you play Namor, you need to die. If you play Penny, you need to die. If you play Hela, you need to die. If you play Phoenix, you need to die. If you play any character I do not like, you need to die. Unfortunately, that's just how this works. I'm sorry. But, real talk. Sorry this video took so long. I really do not like Forecast. He basically ruined this whole thing for me. Hopefully he didn't ruin it for you. He couldn't have ruined it for you because he already did that for me. And you can only ruin one thing for one person at a time. So if you think about it, you guys are good. I'm the one who got screwed over. So yeah. Fan art time. You can probably see it in the background by now if you haven't. Shout out Jaime or at NothingsDiff on TikTok for this beautiful piece of art here. Fuck you too, I guess. But that's, you know. Thank you. Shout out Dubai Diego as well because he gave me a lot of tips on like how to do the lighting and stuff for the drawings. So if he wasn't there for that, you know, this probably would have been a lot more fucked up. So thank you. Yeah, all right. Goodbye. Woo, I love you. Bye. Yeah, bye.